it's Brooke.
And Chelsea.
And this week we are here for the part 2 for Chelsea. We are going to be talking about what it was like for Chelsea growing up in a place like Las Vegas and how that has sort of shaped the person she is today.
I grew up in Las Vegas. I was born there and I lived there for a majority of my life. I was always back and forth between California and Las Vegas as I got older. Basically, the chunk of my growing up era was Las Vegas. Growing up in Las Vegas, I feel like, is very different than growing up anywhere else. It's Sin City. And so being a child in a town that's 21 and over, there's not much for you to do. Personally, and this is not for everyone, I don't think bringing up a family in Las Vegas is the best idea, especially if you have young girls. I think Las Vegas holds girls up to a very high standard of sex appeal because on every billboard, everywhere you go, there are signs, there are cards, people are handing out. Everything is sex. Everything is naked girls. It's just, you know, for girls, that's a lot of pressure to, like, you know, live up to those standards, and they become over-sexualized really young. Personally, I had a lot of friends in middle school that, you know, once, you know, you go through puberty, a lot of girls drop out of school because there are places where prostitution is legal and there are brothels and there are other ways to make money by pleasing men. And so it's like, why finish school when you can make all of this money, you know, doing something that's quote-unquote easy? And basically anything that you want to do as a kid that, you know, you can do because you're age appropriate, you basically have to go through either a casino, a bar, anything to get to either the arcade, bowling alley, etc., movie theaters. And so you're exposed to a lot. You're exposed to alcohol, smoking, gambling, and so it's just, there's a very early loss of innocence growing up in Las Vegas because you're not being, you know, sheltered from those types of things because it's just so in your face. And also growing up in Las Vegas, you know, it's a 24-hour town. Everything's open all the time, and so a lot of kids have parents who work night shifts. And so that leaves them alone for long periods of time, either during the day while their parents are sleeping or all night long while their parents are gone. And so as you get older, you find it's, you know, easy to do whatever you want to do because no one's around to supervise you. So you get yourself into, you find yourself getting into trouble. And along with that, you know, because bars are open 24 hours a day, because casinos are open 24 hours a day, it's really easy to find a lot of families that have alcohol and addiction issues. I personally, you know, I know some families that have been brought up in Las Vegas that are good, wholesome families, and I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying it's highly improbable. A lot of people who live in Las Vegas have alcoholic tendencies or are addicted to drugs or addicted to gambling, and a lot of kids take on those additional stresses from their parents, you know, because of financial instability or because their mom is too hungover to get up and go to work. How are they going to get dinner when their mom's out at the bar? You know, a lot of those things go through a lot of kids' heads that are growing up in Las Vegas and other places just because, you know, Las Vegas, it's so easily accessible. A lot of kids end up having to raise themselves and, you know, be their own parent and be the parent to their parents because they have to make sure they get to bed, they have to make sure they get up on time. You know, a lot of these make their own dinner, make their siblings dinner. You have to grow up really quickly there. It's a fast-moving town and kids have to grow up fast. And then when your parents have addiction issues or are alcoholics, you have a 50% greater chance of also having addiction or alcoholic tendencies. A lot of kids start drinking really early because, you know, parents aren't home. I'm just gonna go in the fridge and crack one of their beers open, and then later down the road that turns to, oh, you know, mom's passed out on the couch, let me grab a few of her cigarettes. And it goes on to a downward spiral. I learned at a really young age that I wanted to get out of Las Vegas, and Las Vegas was not somewhere I wanted to live. You know, it's always going to be my hometown, but it's not where I wanted to live. It's not where I wanted to have a family. For me, it's a lot of negative emotion. It's very bittersweet there. I know personally I've had alcoholism and addiction in my family, and it's really common to find, you know, at an AA meeting, a whole bunch of like little kids or, you know, 13-year-olds just talking outside because their parents, you know, have problems. And I always knew like that I didn't want that for my life. And so as soon as I could get out, I did. My dad was from Newbury Park, California, and so my sophomore year, he decided to move back, and of course I was gonna go with him. I lived with my dad my whole life, and so I wasn't gonna stop then. So I came to California with him. My uncle and my cousins, who I'm really close to, were out here, and one big thing I started to realize was the educational system in Las Vegas and Nevada is really low. It's actually ranked the lowest in the country. I was at the top of my class, and I was in all honors classes, leaving Nevada and getting into California and starting school. I was just average, and so that was real like a blow, because I felt like, you know, I was like top of my class, and then I get to California and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm now equal to everybody else. And so that was a huge, you know, shock. So if you're raising kids in Vegas, I can just tell you, private school. I learned a lot really young, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for the fact that I grew up in Las Vegas. You know, there are some times where I wish I would have had more of a, you know, traditional childhood. I'm really happy that I'm more aware of how the world works. Growing up at such a young age, it opens your eyes and it lets you pretty much filter out the bullshit.
Obviously, I got to meet you senior year, like the tail end of high school, but like, I think that's what I was so drawn to about, even though I didn't know much about you. Obviously, we fell in love before we even learned to like each other. That's like our tagline, but it's true because I didn't know a lot about you and your background, but something about you is very real. And like we've always talked about in past videos, like I'm such a deep thinker, and a lot of people are too on the surface for me, just quite frankly. And even from the beginning, I knew you were more than just meets the eye, and that was always intriguing to me, because like you see this little white girl with blue eyes and you're so freaking cute, and I didn't know that you were from Vegas. I just knew there was something real about you, and obviously since learning your background, learning how you grew up and all that stuff, I understand why you are the person that you are, but I saw that very quickly. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You'd be a different Chelsea that I don't know that I'd fall in love with if it wasn't for all of that.
So there's two things that can happen when you're growing up in those kind of circumstances. You can either be the victim and just follow in the footsteps that you've always known and make the same mistakes that either your parents or people around you have made, or you can learn from it and want to grow and be something more.
Like, I think that's like key, because like the one thing out of obviously the 1,000 things we love about each other, I'd say the one thing that really makes our relationship successful is we both have individually the desire to want to be better, and we only want to make each other better. And you know what I mean? And to me, if you don't want to grow and come out of your circumstances and self-improve, what's the point of life? To just be the same old boring? Like, to me, life is exciting because you don't know who you're going to be a year from now or 5 years from now, and sharing that with a partner is exciting. You get to grow together.
Yeah. The worst thing you could ever say is that you are the way you are just because of A, B, and C. It's like, you don't have to be any kind of way. You know, my mom is an alcoholic, so I'm going to be an alcoholic. You don't have to be. You can know that you have the potential to get there and be mindful, but that doesn't mean you don't have to stop having a good time. You just have to be very self-aware.
You're such an inspiring person to me, because I mean you've broken the mold for a lot of people in your life. You are the golden child for a lot of people in your life because you broke against the grain, and you had like everything around you made you feel like you were drowning. How would you think to get up and walk away? But you did, and look at you now. You inspire me because I wouldn't be you in that situation. It's not for everybody. And the fact that you prevailed and you're standing here today, you gotta be proud of yourself. You really do. So, I'm proud of you, baby. And I'm so happy you came to California. Yeah. you wouldn't know me. So. Alright guys, well I hope this video gives you guys a little bit more insight into the type of the beautiful person that Chelsea is. Please be sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up, tag 3 friends, let us know where you live in the comments below. Be sure to check out last week's video growing up in Los Angeles. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Subscribe. Bye!